Welcome back to the channel. Johann Francis right here. You know what it is. We're here talking equal parts determination and grit, mindset, strength training, nutrition, combining all of those things to answer that question that may ruminate deep inside you. Can I keep going? Should I change up my routine? Why am I so tired all the time? Compiling all that using my background and helping you guys hopefully push forward. And then, hey, I don't want 10%. I just want to know that you guys went pro in whatever it is that you're trying to do. And we do that by telling a little bit of my story, and you guys can let me know, hey, did it help you? How did you get ahead? After the last time I talked about my 17 rounds of resilience, where I was getting my butt handed to me, but learning a lot of dope lessons along the way, where I was in this room full of guys who were better than me, and it only hit me after maybe only 7 rounds that I was way overmatched, in over my head. And this was eye-opening. It was a rapture, and trying to adapt on the fly made me a stronger person, because from that point I decided that I'm gonna double down on all my efforts to get ahead. I took 2 routes. One route was staying in the gym. The other route was training people who were younger than me or who had more to gain being in the gym longer, professionals, Golden Gloves fighters. I wanted to go ahead and say, yo, I'm your man. So I did those 2 things at once, kind of dividing my attention between them. And so I spent the next few trying to compete as much as I can, training as hard as I can. And my regimen was wild. It was wild. I didn't take days off willingly. I had it down to a science, my friends. And if you want to train specifically for any type of combat sport, but mainly if you wanted to go and do any type of competition, cycling competition, running competitions, maybe they have professional athletic leagues now where you just compete at doing burpees, squats, and kettlebell swings. Maybe that's not even you. You just want to freaking get back in the gym. Maybe you're bodybuilding, whatever it is. I can break down a beautiful regimen for you that'll be super adaptable. CoachJohannCSCS.com. I learned it because I got tired of just not being dope enough to compete with those fools over there at the gym that I talked about on the last video. I wanted to make sure that I was ironclad. So after I was running and I coughed up my lung, I hit the treadmill and I started running every freaking day. I went from never running and smoking to running all the time. I flipped a switch and it hurt, but I did it. And after a while, after weeks and weeks, yes, it took weeks. Yes, I'm proud of it. And what? I eventually got to the stage where I was doing my 3 miles in 33, 31, 29 and a half minutes, and I was doing it consistently, and every joint I had below my belly button hurt. I couldn't believe it, but I kept pushing myself. I started to eat better. I started to eat so that I can fuel myself in the morning. I tried fasted running. I tried BCAAs. I would do it all because I have that nutrition degree. I put that to use, and I laid out this beautiful tessellated workout regimen, and it was bomb diggity because I started to incorporate everything that I knew to move forward. So I would do that. On Mondays, it was Olympic lifting. Tuesdays through the rest of the week, I was pretty much just lifting weights like I had always been, only now I couldn't waste time and energy. I had to get the most out of my lifts. And this is the way I still lift to this day. Go to the website. I'll show you. You can download those PDFs right there. And this is the way that I teach my classes to this day. It optimizes your time. It makes sure you never miss an energy system, because that's how we lift. And it gets you stronger along the way. This impetus was brought to me not just from the straight, I'm gonna just say it, the ass whooping that I took that day, that reckoning that I came to, but it came from a bottle of Jack Daniels. Me and one of my friends one night, I remember we were talking about strength training. What do you do with your homies, right? What do you ladies do with the girls when you guys get together and there's nothing but you, a gang of stories, and a bottle, a handle sitting right there? You talk strength training, am I right? Maybe not. Well, this is what you do if you're a fitness nerd. You talk strength training. Me and my homie, we sat there together, and we had our girlfriends also chilling, but it was just us chilling. We got to know each other really good behind a bottle of Gentleman's Jack. We polished that thing off, and we were talking about the books that he was reading, because he was trying to do what at the time I had done, which is become a strength coach, a certified strength coach, CSCS. And we were just chopping up game, polishing off this whiskey. And it was like, yo, energy systems. That was the thesis of the night. That's how you're supposed to train. You don't train to just look good. Hell no, because I don't care if you look good if you can't fight. I don't care if you're really, really big. As one of my coaches, in fact, the coach that presided over my butt kicking, he was really, let me just take a step back. We were training that day. That was a sparring session. That wasn't a fight. That wasn't a competition. That was just a training session. Granted, it was fucking Fight Club, and you don't talk about Fight Club. So I just like, knock, knock, knock. Oh, hi, Fight Club. Can I join you? I had done that before, but not with like a team with a world-class coach before. So you know what I'm saying? I bit off more than I could chew at that point. I'll do it again. But as he put it, it doesn't matter if someone is bigger than you and more athletic, if they're not in condition and they ain't doing their running. You could pull their shorts down and fuck them in the butt. That's just his words, not mine, as many times as you want to. And he's right. The point is, if your conditioning isn't good enough and you're in there trying to compete with your sparring, it doesn't matter. So I decided to get after it. Now, that was part of the impetus. And on top of that, I just knew it to be true. So I set out to learn. And what I learned is, I don't care how big you are, I am going to be more conditioned. It's to condition yourself with your combat training, with your XYZ training. Mix them together. You should always be lifting weights. You should always be in the gym buoying your strength. You should always do it behind some dumbbells, some barbells, whatever it is. They mix together. So I already had the background. Of lifting weights. I wasn't about to stop doing that. Plenty of guys who are professional fighters never stopped lifting weights. And I had it down. I used myself as a case study. I'd say, how am I going to get ahead? How am I going to train professionals if I meet them? How am I going to train high-level athletes? How am I going to do this? I need to see for myself. I'm going to go ahead and compete. I'm going to go ahead and train myself as hard as I can because I didn't really have a team. I'm going to do this thing. With that regiment, there was 4 minimum. I was supposed to do like 3 to 5 days of running. So I got that 3 miles in. That was just my benchmark because he had told me that. And then I was trying to do those kicks every other day, 1,000 kicks. I would also do, like I said, some Olympic lifting. So I had all of that and I broke it down. Weeks 1 and 2, I would choose an energy system. 3 and 4, 5 and 6, 7 and 8. And we would do power, I would do strength, and I would do basically endurance. I would do another one sometimes too, but that was the MO. I would start off every day thinking about what the goal was for the week. So if it was power for the next 2 weeks, basically I had 2 weeks to lift heavy with an emphasis on power. Now, how would I emphasize the power? I would take my 4 standard lifts, go on the website. You can see that they're back squat, chest press, deadlift, and push press. And those would be what I focus on for power for the week. Every other lift that I would do would either supplement that or just be training for the rest of my body. If I was focusing on strength, I would still do those 4 exercises. Endurance, those same core 4. And I would just focus on strength or endurance with those core 4. And you see what can happen in the long term. My squats are about to be fire. My thighs are about to rip every pair of sweats to pieces. My chest is about to be barrely. And I'm still going to be able to throw these hands because I'm going to train just to build strength, power, or endurance with the context of strengthening myself for fighting and conditioning. The problem was running and lifting really, really heavy, they don't live together. All right. Running and they're two best friends, right? Running for PRs, like doing 5 miles in 40 minutes. And also getting your first 450 pound deadlift for reps. Those two bleeding edge goals that you might have for yourself, they don't like each other. One of them owed the other one money. All right. And now when bleeding edge strength training hears that high level endurance goals is going to show up at the party, strength goals is out. Nah, we're not showing up. Like, they can't live together is the point. And what I mean is you cannot continue to push yourself cardio wise and still expect bleeding edge, especially power, strength gains. You have to limit one or the other. It just doesn't work. Scientifically, it doesn't work. They use some of the same energy systems, right? Because energy systems, right, they build on each other. You don't just use power and that excludes endurance, and you don't use endurance without passing through strength, and you don't use strength without power. They kind of Venn diagram together, and because they collate, you can't deplete one without starting to use the other. So what you notice is, as you try to run really far and really fast, you won't have any energy, let's just say, to donate to your strength training. And so the debate of what do you do first, lifting or do you do cardio? This is where that comes into play, right? Because you need energy to do both. You have a finite amount of energy. The one thing that humans have a humongous capacity to do is run slowly for long distances. Even that is finite. At some point, you start destroying your GABA, your gamma alpha butyric acid. That's a neurological breakdown of chemical messengers, right? You see those fools running those long ass marathons, and all of a sudden it looks like somebody hit them with that cattle prod from Casino, like Robert De Niro's homie just snuck up behind you and popped you underneath the armpit, and then you just kind of go, whoa, and then you turn into a baby deer crossing the finish line. That's that GABA leaving your body. That does limit how long you can run, but other than that, you have a finite amount of energy. And so it becomes use the most taxing thing first, which is always going to be power. Plyometrics, do that first. Now, when you're talking about 5 weeks of training, 8 weeks of training, different. If you're deconditioned, it's always do your endurance or your high reps, low intensity first, and then do that other stuff. But I had done all that. So you do power first. So within power week, my power core 4 squats, bench, whatever, was going to be the first thing that I did. If it was endurance, it might be the last. If it was endurance, that doesn't mean that I don't work power. I just don't do the core 4 during power cycle. Okay? Sounds confusing. CoachJohannCSCS.com. I have this laid out. I even have a program you can follow to train yourself or your athletes. So what I would do was, on Monday, it was Olympic lifting. I only did this once a week. It was super taxing. I got to the point where I didn't spend an hour doing it. I would only spend 30 minutes or so doing it. And that was enough. And so it was mostly Olympic lifting. I would just do straight sets. I didn't really care about the weight. I would just care about the technique and the explosion and work it. I would work my cleans, my snatches, or my push press, which does go in between the core 4, but also straight up Olympic lifting. So I would do those technical lifts for power. Then on Tuesday, it would probably be, let's say it's power week. It would be, let's say it's legs. I'd go back squats. So I go back squats really heavy right out the gate. I wouldn't do more than say like 6 reps. So I go that heavy to be able to do my 6 reps. So I have my plates on there and I'm doing my 6 reps. 6 is brutal. I'm dying trying to get it off. I take a little breather. That's a long breather to go set up my next set. In that set, I would probably end up doing, if I just did that squat, I would do something else, something ancillary. It could be anything at that point, right? Then after that, I would finish with some body weight because that is something that I can recover with and I can keep going. And that would be like a Tuesday. A Wednesday, I would work my upper body. It would be still working that power. So I would do my chest press. I would do my bench press. It would be really, really heavy. Because I did squats the day before, my next set after that long break would include squats. Now, I wouldn't necessarily do back squats again. I might do light front squats, but I'm aiming for 15-ish, okay? 12, 10. And I back-to-back, I superset that with something else, maybe for the arms, maybe for the legs. So I don't necessarily just do arms and arms. It depends how the cycles work themselves out. But I love bulletproofing, where on Monday I do legs, and then on Tuesday I just still touch the legs just lightly. And then I might take 1 or 2 days off from hitting quads. Wednesday, it's back to legs. Instead, I would do my deadlifts. So it's heavy deadlifts. Now I just leave my legs alone after that. I don't touch them. I just do upper body for the rest of the day after that deadlift series. 3 sets, 5 sets, really heavy, extremely hard, going down to 2-3 reps. Boom. Friday, I finish my upper body. Saturday, I might go back and run it back again and start over with squats if I wasn't super fatigued, or I would just focus on my running. Take the day off actually on Sunday, run it back the next week, still power, similar to what I did. Strength week, instead of starting out with heavy back squat, I would start out with something else for power, right? Something else, right? It's still back squat day, but I don't do that for power. Maybe I do a series of clapping push-ups. Maybe I do plyo pull-ups. So I'm doing 8, 10 plyo pull-ups, pull, underhand, catch, overhand. Do that. Then I go into the main thing, which is that squat set. Now I'm working my strength. So now the strength is happening. Now I'm doing 12, 13, 15 reps with the back squat, straight up back squat, because that's what I want to level up on. I superset that, finish up with body weight, deadlift, chest press, push press, run it back. A few weeks later, it's endurance. So now power, I do something, right? Maybe I do kettlebell swings with the heavy bell up to the eyes, right? American style, I think they call it. I forget. It sounds like xenophobic for some reason. Like, you only go to the belly button on Russian. Like, what is that? I don't think it matters too much, but anyway, kettlebells go here, heavy. And then after that, I might do a series of 15 reps. Maybe I'm doing my push-ups and supersetting, back-to-backing with some curls, right? Doing like a mechanical drop set where I do just my chest and then I do upper chest. Maybe I do decline pike push-ups. It would all happen on the fly. I would make it up that day, but I knew I had to do my core 4 for X amount of reps and sets. Strength, I would do my 15. I would do it 3, 4, 5 sets, maybe 6. Endurance, I'm going for like 6 sets. Now it's endurance. Now I still got that back squat, core 4. I'm doing it last. Now I'm doing it last. I'm doing hella reps. I'm going super duper light. You know what I'm saying? I'm not in here trying to show out at all. You look at me, it's like, what are you working on today, bro? Yeah, back squats. And I got like 2 10s on there, and it's like, oh yeah? Okay. Yeah, bro, but I can fight, so it doesn't matter. That's the mindset, you guys. I'm not saying it to puff up my ego, nor should you. I'm just saying that in the gym, sometimes it's a voyeuristic environment. You want to know that you're doing everything in their power to look really dope. And that means when you're at the gym, and then when you're at home in the mirror, and then when you're at the beach with the tiny little shorts, whatever it might be, don't do it. Like, cool to look good at the beach, to look good for her. Whatever you got to do, fine. But in the gym, I was like, we're working. And it just so happens that, you know what I mean? It just so happens that the quads bust through the sweats later on down the line. Lightweight, hella reps, 20 reps, 30 reps, no more than 25-ish, 30. Boom, boom, boom. And then I would do that back squat, push press, chest press, deadlift for the week, and run it back again. And this was my peak athleticism. I got strong as hell. My powerlifting, I believe I used to do it twice a week. Before that, once a weekend. I couldn't do it because I started running more. I wanted to run more to keep up with these beasts that I wanted to train with. And the running incrementally got better, but the heavy lifting started to like level off, right? So the Olympic lifting started to get less. Everything else, I kind of like had to stop squeezing to get bigger, better lifts. And so I'm repping my deadlifts 380 for many, many reps. And I'm cool with that. I'm just like, all right. And it allowed me to stay on task. I didn't get injured for months and months after. I was doing this for maybe a year with the fight training. Then I took a time off the fight training, just lifting. I got to be the heaviest I've ever been, which is 194. That's the heaviest I've ever. I'm eating everything, McDonald's, Big Macs, and I can't get past 194. But it worked. I was stronger than I've ever been, and I felt great doing it. I was able to compete. I was able to step on the gas. And more importantly, I was proving to myself what the science was already proving, but I was confirming it. So like if I could tell you guys some advice, I could tell my clients, I could tell my athletes some advice, I knew what it was because I had been there and I felt what it was like sparring, working out like that. I felt what it was like to go on a run just like this because I was training myself. And so that's the advice I still give to this day. You can find it on Conditioning for Competition on my website, CoachJohannCSCS.com. And there's a whole bunch of other PDFs that you can download to go ahead and do that. And then the next time we talk, I'm going to tell you about how I went in and started to compete lightweight, but really try to get myself out there, and how I ended up meeting my boxers and training with some more professionals. Not getting jumped by those professionals, but actually literally training with them. And I'll tell you about the MMA, professional MMA fighter that I got to train with, and I just got my mind smoked. Like, yo, this is the work, crazy work that you have to do to be competitive in professional MMA. Wow. So that one on the next one, head over to that website, you guys. I hope that whatever we talk about and when